Hello, this is Deborah with the Sisterhood of the Rose Planetary Network. Today I'm speaking again with Cobra, who is the chief intel provider for the Resistance Movement, where he offers important planetary and galactic information at his blog 2012portal.blogspot.com. We are going to be discussing many things today, from manifestation to healing to the event and ascension to planetary situation, soul families, goddess energy, and much more. And of course, our primary topic, the important upcoming 12/21 Ascension Portal Activation Part 2, coming this July. Lots to talk about. So let's get started. Welcome, Cobra, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you for this invitation.
Yeah, it's great to speak with you again. So it's been almost a year since our last interview, where we discussed the 12/21 Ascension Portal Activation that took place last August, which was one of the greatest energy shifts of our lifetimes. That was part one of this important activation. Now the opening of the second part of the 12/21 Ascension Portal Activation is taking place actually this July on the 25th. We'll be using the opportunity of the massive astrological configurations coming one after the other in July to create a portal through which we're going to unify our consciousness and trigger the process that will further optimize the ascension timeline for the planet. This unification will be done via a series of 20-minute global mass meditations. I would especially like to stress that the more people that participate, the more powerful and positive the results for both humanity and the planet. So, Cobra, before we discuss this important Part 2 upgrade of the 12/21 Ascension Portal Activation on July 25th and the big meditation, I'd like to ask you about each of the powerful astrological configurations that lead up to that moment. And because it's essential that a critical mass of 144,000 people participate in that July 25th meditation, at each of these three powerful astrological configurations prior to July 25th, there will be booster meditations to ensure critical mass is reached for the fourth main meditation on the 25th. So the first big date and booster meditation we're looking at is July 15th at 8:28 p.m. UTC, where Uranus comes into a harmonious sextile with Neptune. Now, Uranus is a planet of rebellion, change, and sudden transformations, and Neptune is a planet of the mystical, compassionate, spiritual, and creative energies. So, Cobra, what can we expect from this first important configuration of Uranus and Neptune?
This is a very harmonious configuration which triggers strong spiritual awakening, fast, sudden, and harmonious spiritual progress for humanity. This will be a very harmonious energy, and our booster meditation, this will be our first booster meditation, will make a solid ground for the next few booster meditations and for the main activation on the July 25th. So it's a very good, very harmonious beginning of the whole process that we are experiencing in July.
Excellent. Is this sudden spiritual awakening for every human on the earth, irrespective of their free will, or does it happen for only those who are having at least minimum willingness?
Okay, the energies will be present for everybody. Those who are more open for them and more willing to receive them will benefit more from them, but the energies will be present for the whole planet.
Wonderful. Now, the second booster meditation takes place on July 18th at 4:45 a.m. UTC, and there will be a Uranus and Pluto trine, which is also harmonious. In addition to Uranus being a planet of change, Pluto is also a planet of transformation, and it illuminates our capacity for rebirth and psychological healing. So, Cobra, what does this configuration signify, and what's your expectation about that combination?
That is a very powerful combination which signifies a spiritual revolution. So our second booster meditation will be a very powerful one. It will be not so gentle, but it will be extremely powerful. So it will be like, I would say, a quantum leap to the next stage of preparation for the main activation.
Wow. Then Jupiter, the planet of optimism, makes three strong astrological aspects starting on July 20th, with a Jupiter Neptune trine, then as a Jupiter Pluto opposition, and culminating on July 21st at 11:11 a.m. UTC with a Jupiter Uranus sextile, which is when the third booster meditation takes place. Now, Cobra, what would you elaborate about these three astrological aspects during these days and what we might expect from them?
Okay, what is happening is that three outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, are having a strong interplay in the second part of July. And Jupiter making aspects with all three outer planets on July 20th and July 21st is like a trigger which activates that interplay. It's like the trigger moment which starts the peak of the process. And Jupiter, as I would say, the lucky planet, is very favorable positioned in a very favorable location on the zodiac to activate those three planets. The only possible tension and stress would be with the Jupiter-Pluto opposition, but that tension is necessary to release whatever is suppressed, all the suppressed blockages which might hinder this activation. So there will be a little bit of a processing taking place, but the rest of it will be very favorable and very harmonious.
Okay, good. You mentioned breakthroughs. Like, what kind of breakthroughs do you mean? Can you give us some examples of what we might expect?
I would like to say that I would say one part of subconscious field of humanity will have to be purified and transformed through that process. So there will be a breakthrough there. I mean, one part of the Akashic records, one part of a collective suppressed history, all that will need to be cleared at that moment.
Interesting. How do you think these booster meditations will help to prepare everyone for the very big synchronized meditation on July 25th and contribute to its success?
The booster meditations are working on the same principle as boosters in a multi-stage rocket. Each of the booster meditations makes a propulsion, makes a, I would say, a lift to the next level of energies, and this is building up to the final moment. So in this way, it is much easier to get a critical mass than if you would do it without them. And also on July, at that time, July 20th, July 21st, there will be a very harmonious, very auspicious astrological configuration called the Barbault basket. Barbault was a French astrologer who is famous because he predicted the COVID pandemic before it happened. He predicted the time frame. It was published in the astrological journal in France before the pandemic. So it was actually a prediction that came true. And his prediction for this configuration is the most favorable astrological configuration of the 21st century. He is, in a way, describing this as a marker for the beginning of the golden age in a certain way. So there is a lot of astrological support for this process. There is a lot of very positive energies which were not present before in the solar system.
Wow, it sounds like it. So, when it comes to these large mass meditations, we know that it's important to reach the critical mass of the symbolic number of 144,000 participants. And to achieve this, we really hope to involve people who are maybe not necessarily very familiar with meditation or our topics, but wondering to what extent does experience with meditation or knowledge of our content have a strong or weak effect on the success?
What is important is not so much the exact knowledge of what's happening, that helps, of course, but what is important is the willingness and intention. So if people have an intention to do this meditation, to participate in it, and to contribute to the critical mass, this is all that is needed. Even if they have no prior experience with meditation, they just need to do the best they can, and that's it. And if enough people do that, we will have a very strong effect.
Okay, very good. So it's really about the numbers.
More or less so, yes.
Okay. So now, before we start talking about the fourth and biggest astrological configuration on July 25th, and that's where there's going to be the first exact Pluto Neptune sextile after 4 decades, I'd like to ask you a question. How is it that planets and their configurations can have such a great impact on us, like our lives, our consciousness, our society as a whole?
What is happening is that planets create resonance fields, interference patterns. So planets are moving around the solar system and they project energies as they move around the solar system. On the physical plane, it is not so much, this is just on the physical plane, this is not so visible, but on the energetic planes, there is a strong energy field which is emanated by each of the planets. And the combination of those energy fields create a resonance mandala. And this mandala influences everything on Earth. It does not determine what will happen, but it definitely does influence what will happen. And if you can look in human history and study the astrological influences on human history, you will see very, very strong correlation.
I believe we talked in the past that planets are actually living beings, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Um, and before we move on, I'd like to ask you about the first part last year of the portal activation. That was considered a success. Can you tell us what some of the positives are that came out of that?
The most positive outcome of that was that finally it was becoming possible for light workers en masse to start working on their golden timelines. So basically to take their lives in their own hands, start making decisions, and start making better lives for themselves. I would say enough anomaly was cleared so that we could finally begin to utilize our free will again. And that's a huge achievement. It might not feel like that at this moment, but I would say it's a historic shift because when people start utilizing free will again, that will lead to drastic consequences in a positive way on the surface of the planet. So we're not slaves anymore. We are starting to use our free will again on a massive scale. There are hundreds or even thousands or tens of thousands of people who were part of this meditation, who were part of this activation, and are now using their free will. And that's a huge number, and this will have long-lasting consequences for the future timelines on this planet.
Could you speak a little bit more about what, not just that meditation, but the series of meditations that we've been doing over the years? Because I know some people get frustrated when they don't see anything physically happening on the planet itself, on the surface. Could you speak a little bit just about the impact of these meditations that happen consecutively and consistently, one after the other, maybe them building upon each other, what positive effects they have?
Many wars were prevented, many negative things that would have otherwise have been prevented. Of course, people have greater expectations, and I also had greater expectations, and we were all expecting things to get better and easier before. But there is simply so much darkness on this planet that it takes time to resolve all of this. So it is not a question if this is working or not. It is just a question how much it has to transform. And it's a lot, believe me, it's a lot.
I'm sure it sure seems like it. All right, now let's delve into the importance of part two of the 1221 Ascension Portal Activation on July 25th. And of course, we know we have that grand global mass meditation that takes place at 5:53 a.m. UTC. And let's start by speaking about what makes this date so significant and the astrology that goes with that.
Okay, what is happening on that date is the Neptune sextile Pluto. So that is a very harmonious and extremely positive astrological aspect, which basically means beginning of a golden age, astrologically speaking and spiritually speaking. It is the beginning of arrival of the golden age energies back again. Those energies were present on the surface of the planet between early 1950s until I would say 1986. And this was a time period of a great spiritual awakening on the planet. This was a time of I would say, the most intense spiritual progress of humanity since times of Atlantis. Many things happened that were of very good nature. There was a lot of spiritual awakening, a lot of new revelations, a lot of healing was taking place in that time frame. And now this energy is coming back again after 4 decades.
Wow, excellent, excellent. It sounds very exciting. I feel it would be beneficial for people to understand better at this point what the meaning of 1221 is. Would you please explain what it represents, how it's an upgraded version of the 1111 code, and what the 1221 conversion does exactly?
I would not say it's an upgraded version of the 1111 code. 1111 code is very important and actually allowed us to get access to the world of oneness again, where 1221 code is another code, which is extremely important as well. And this 1221 code transforms this world as it is. It transmutes all darkness, and it actually assists, or I would even say causes, the ascension process for this planet.
Oh, excellent. Okay. So the keys to the new heaven and new earth, which we'll talk more about later, they were unified for the first time on May 24th during an important astrological marker that were anchored in Bora Bora during your workshop there, which were also enhanced by light workers around the world who were anchoring the energy in their own locations. Now, you've said that at the moment of July 25th, the Neptune Pluto sextile, this unification will be strong enough to start hell to heaven conversions on the mental, astral, etheric, and physical planes on the surface hell layer on Earth. And it definitely does seem like a hell layer, doesn't it? So, this conversion sounds like exactly what this planet needs. But practically speaking, can you describe to us what is hell to heaven conversions? What will it do?
This is a process through which the absolute or the source and very advanced light beings transmute the hellish condition which is found here on a quantum level. So, what is happening is that each situation that is manifested is a result of combinations of various possible outcomes. And by eliminating potential negative outcomes for the future situations, the hellish aspect will be reduced gradually on the surface of the planet. This has never happened before, not here. So this is like elimination of potential negative outcomes. This is the easiest way to explain this.
Fantastic. Would you please explain how our combined focus consciousness, when we do the mass meditation together on July 25th, will contribute to this hell to heaven conversion?
If we get the critical mass, we will be able to anchor a lot of that energy through our energy fields. And even if we do not reach the critical mass, this will start happening to a degree. But if we reach the critical mass, it will be much more pronounced, it will be much faster, and much more effective.
Mm. Motivation for reaching critical mass, for sure. So, you mentioned these conversions would be perturbations of the quantum field, but they would be filtered by the 1221 conversion zone of the Ontarian conversion. What are perturbations in this instance, and how exactly does the creation of them lead to a positive outcome? And how does this clearing process start and continue to work?
So, again, there are in each manifestation of any possible event, there are various possible combinations, various possible outcomes, how certain things can manifest. And by eliminating the negative aspects, the negative, I would say, elements from these possible combinations, there will be less and less negative manifestations happening. And this is how this clearing process goes. By removing from the quantum field the negative potentials. And this is exactly what's going to start happening after July 25th.
Okay. So you mentioned that after July 25th, those hell to heaven conversions will begin transmuting sets and subsets of bad situations in a nonlinear fashion, which is, I think, what you were just talking about, with certain bad situation sets being resolved before the other. Can you give us examples of those bad situations, and what are the criteria for which bad situation sets are resolved before others?
If you want examples of the bad situations, just open any website or any news portal, and you will see many of them. And you can just review your life, whatever was happening, and you can also remember many of them. And how those situations will be resolved, it will be not linear. It will be uh, certain aspects of anomaly, certain aspects of quantum negative field will be resolved before the other. And it is very hard to tell exactly what will be cleared first. It is a very complex process. So it will look quite random. But after some time, after this process starts, people will begin to notice that things are flowing more smoothly. There is less chaos, there is less negativity, and certain bad things that were happening before simply stop happening.
Great. Well, we'll take whatever conversions we can get. That's awesome. Can you recommend any physical embodiment of the 1221 conversion? Like, if we can bring such items to Gaza or Iran, would it help to transmute war into peace?
Yes, of course, it would help, and I think everybody's quite familiar with many of them. There are Sintamani stones, emeralds, and opals. These are the main, those crystals and the stones are, I would say, the most powerful embodiments of that conversion.
Okay, very good. We'll be speaking more about those stones in a little bit. So, part two of the 1221 Ascension Portal Activation is an upgrade of last year's part one. And you've indicated that part two will anchor the 12th ray of cosmic paradise. Would you please describe what is the 12th ray of cosmic paradise and how we might envision it and what we might expect from it?
Okay, this is the embodiment of the, I would say, perfect archetype that is coming from the absolute. That is the most positive archetype that exists. And what we can expect from it, we can expect the golden age. This is what is going to happen one way or the other as soon as possible.
Is the energy intake of this cosmic paradise dependent on the consciousness levels of the light worker, or is it the same for everyone?
This energy will be coming everywhere. Of course, it will be coming more to the areas which are more pure energetically. And of course, if somebody is more open for those energy, that person will be able to experience this more strongly.
Okay, good. So you were talking about how the energies of July 25th will finally start bringing in the energies of the golden age. What do you envision for this? Like, how do you perceive the golden age on Earth?
The golden age will really start coming after the event, after the arrest of the cabal, after the removal of darkness, and when new technologies are introduced, when the beds are introduced, when there is first contact with post-extraterrestrial races, and when human beings finally begin to live in peace and harmony, and when there will be a lot of creativity, a lot of spiritual growth, and islands of light, all that. This is all what's going to happen. This is all part of the process.
Okay, fabulous. Yeah, we'll be talking about those things too in a moment. But we will start seeing elements of the golden age prior to this.
The first thing that will happen will be positive energies starting to come in, which is already happening to a certain degree in certain areas under certain conditions. And those positive energies, like energies of the new heaven, which are already present to a degree, all this will be getting stronger and stronger. There will be physical science, like the disclosure process, which is taking place. There will be more physical science coming. And at a certain point, this will become undeniable. So when this process accelerates to a senior stage, it will be undeniable.
Okay, great. So regarding July 25th, that meditation, if we reach the critical mass of 144,000 people meditating, what changes can light workers expect? Like, what I know you've talked a little bit, but like specifically, what changes in the energy bodies can be observed? Will we see any observable change in the physical body, like getting healed or age reversal, etc.?
Okay, I'm not expecting anything drastic. There, of course, can be drastic healings or quantum leaps that can happen. But what I'm expecting is a subtle but strong and irreversible process of more and more light, more and more positive energies, and bad situations disappearing faster and faster.
Okay, and does this apply to like specific changes for humanity as a whole?
This will be individual and planetary process at the same time. So again, certain people will experience this before others. Certain situations will be resolved it for others. And at a certain point, this will be felt also on the geopolitical stage.
Okay, very good. Um, so I have a curious question. Is this part two the second half of the 1221 essential Ascension Portal Activation, or do you anticipate that there being additional parts in the future?
And this is classified information at this point.
Okay. Okay, understood. Um, I'd like to circle back about the new heaven and new earth keys. What are the specific qualities of each of these keys, and why are these two keys and their merger so important at this time?
Okay, New Haven key is the one that has been born on, I would say born, created or born on August 11, 1999, at the moment of the total solar eclipse. And its name says everything. It's New Haven. It's like the key which transforms the cosmos. It eats out darkness. It removes darkness. It creates universe where only light exists, where only positivity exists. The New Earth key is a subset of that key and is especially created. It was born on August 21st last year, and it was especially created for the surface of this planet because the conditions here are unique. It's a quarantine planet, and it's a little bit different key. This one is more grounded, it is more physical, and it anchors absolutely positive energies into the physical matter and on the surface of the planet.
I'm curious, do other planets have this new heaven key?
Yes, of course, it's very much present throughout the universe right now.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. How can surface humanity use these keys in their daily lives?
If you connect to those energies, you can experience quite strong healing. For example, if you connect with a New Haven key, you can get inspiration, you can get contact with your higher self, you can get a lot of healing. And with the New Earth key, you can accelerate manifestation process, especially abundance and any manifestation related to your physical life. People had strong breakthroughs in their financial situations and other situations using that key.
What is your suggestion on how best to use these keys?
If you go through the workshop notes of Bora Bora workshop, you will see we did many meditations using those keys, and you can go through that, and there are many guidelines how to use those.
Okay, thank you. How will the New Earth Key and New Heaven Key be impacting the big movements in July? Will they strengthen this Ascension Portal opening, for example? And what other effects will these keys have on us during the next few months?
Um, Basically, both of those key will be the main energies that will be interplaying during this process in July. So New Heaven key will be getting stronger, and New Earth key will be getting stronger, and they will be interacting with each other and strengthening each other, and they will be working in resonance with the three outer planets of the solar system. And all the combination of all that is the energy signature of this activation on July 25th.
Okay, thank you. What's the connection between the key of the New Earth and bubbles of heaven? And what about the difference between bubbles of heaven and the new paradise energy you recently spoke about?
I would say bubbles of heaven are the early manifestation of a new heaven key that is connected to the new earth. This was attempted in 2019. It failed because the surface population was not ready. It was not able to anchor those energies. And now this will be anchored in a different way. So bubbles of heaven will be manifested a little bit differently than it was originally planned. It will be a different approach to the same situation, I would say.
Can we consciously create bubbles of heaven in our life by combining new heaven and new earth keys energy? And if so, how should we do that?
Yes, we can do that by meditating and connecting those two energies in the same way as we will do at the moment of our peak activation on July 25th.
Okay. So you've stated that opal is the stone that activates and anchors the energies of new heaven, and that it is a liquid crystal, not fully crystallized, that it's frozen liquid light, which sounds pretty cool. How is it that it can be frozen liquid light? And what is its relationship to solar flares? Can you speak more about this special stone?
Okay, strictly from a physical perspective, it is something very similar to a liquid crystal. Esoterically speaking, the atomic structure of opal holds non-physical light, and opals were created in past solar flashes, like when the sun went micronova. There was a strong, I would say, explosion of particles that reached the surface of the planet, penetrated underground in something that was similar to lightning, and had changed the atomic structure of the rock which was existing there. And opals hold the energy signature of those past solar flashes. So this is a very special stone indeed.
It sounds like it. So while opals anchor the energy of the new heaven, emeralds anchor the energy of the new earth, and they can be used to connect to the Argartha network during meditation. Can we visualize an opal becoming a portal that leads us to heaven or angelic cosmic beings in meditations?
Yes, exactly. This is the purpose of the opal.
Beautiful. What about consciously creating bubbles of heaven in our daily lives by using opals and emeralds together?
Yes, this can be very effective.
Okay, thank you. Now that the emerald flame has become available for surface population since last year, will we be using an opal flame or ray in the near future? And if so, what are the characteristics of it?
This might be possible at a certain point, but we are not there yet.
Okay. Over the last 3 years, light workers have carried out many projects related to the planetary light grid, such as the Goddess Equator, Global Dragon Ley Lines, New Resistance, VSIC, and Emerald Light, Knights Templar, and the Golden Timeline. How can light workers use the key of the new heaven now to consolidate and even enhance the results of these projects?
They can visualize the energies of New Heaven being anchored in all those places where past the grid work was done.
Okay. At the Australia workshop, you mentioned that the key of the new earth is meant to create the Lumerian paradise. Many people are still unfamiliar with Lumeria. Would you please describe the history, geographical location, and its relationship with the Atlantean civilization?
Lemuria was located in the Pacific Ocean, and it was a civilization that existed before Atlantis. It was basically a civilization of paradise where many cosmic beings landed in their spaceships on Earth and were guiding humanity in perfect harmony. So this is like the paradise which most people remember, and it will be recreated again on the next level.
Beautiful. Since there's an old equator from the Atlantean era, is there also an old equator from the Lumerian era?
But there are many because there were many polar shifts in that time frame.
Okay. Would it be beneficial to bury tachinized opals along this equator or in those areas, I'm sure?
I will simplify this and say, for this purpose, it is the most beneficial to bury opals in the Pacific region, in all countries that border to the Pacific Ocean, and especially the Pacific Islands.
Okay. Okay. Great. Master Saint Germain is in charge of Project New Atlantis in the Atlantic region. Which ascended being is in charge of supervising the New Earth project in the Pacific region?
There is a being which is called Ramu, and he is overseer of that project.
Would you spell that, please?
RAMU.
Okay, thank you. In the instructions for the 1221 Ascension Portal Activation Part 2 meditation, we are to visualize a wave of opalescent blue light of the new heaven descending from the sky into our heart chakra, all cosmic beings of light supporting this process. Then we visualize a wave of emerald green light of the new earth ascending from the earth into our heart chakra, with all subterranean beings of light supporting this process. Then we visualize both energies merging in our heart chakra and creating a field of opalescent blue green energy of paradise around us. Would you discuss the meaning and power of this opalescent blue-green energy of paradise?
That energy is the energy of the 12th ray. This is the energy which will anchor the perfect archetype for our future. This is like the best possible super golden, the best possible timeline for the planet. It is, I would say, the most possible positive energy.
Beautiful. Is this light from above and light from below meeting on the surface symbolic of how you've described compression breakthrough? And if so, how much closer will it bring us to compression breakthrough?
I would say this is the initial phase of the compression breakthrough itself. So it is, I would say, a very advanced preparatory stage of the compression breakthrough.
Okay, great. This opalescent blue-green color feels like such a beautiful, magical color. Is this why some people are so passionately drawn to natural, clear, sparkling turquoise water and the beaches that meet this water found in places like Bora Bora? I mean, most people think this is nice, but I'm talking about the people that seem obsessed with this gift from nature. Could this be a knowing or even a memory of living during the times of Lumeria?
This is a knowing, a memory, and a vision for the future. And of course, people are drawn to this because this is the most possible positive energy, and people are naturally drawn to this.
Okay, great. Is it likely that light workers intuitively drawn to this could reside someday in an island of light in some of these areas?
Yes, of course, that is possible.
Very good. So, in terms of asking what the current time frame is for when islands of light will be formed, I'd like to speak a little bit about the event in Ascension because there is a burning question that everyone has. In your announcement about the 1221 Ascension Portal Activation Part 2, you mentioned that one aspect of this process will be an update and upgrade of the event and ascension plan for this planet. And we would definitely like to hear more about this. Would you please share specifically, as much as you can, what those updates and upgrades are?
I don't know what this update will be. Actually, nobody knows. It will be something new. It will. The only thing that is known that it will come on July 25th. There will be an upgrade, an update, an improvement of the plan. But the thing is, the closer we get to the event, the less intel can be publicly released because obviously this is the end game, and I would not want to give any intel to the dark forces about what the plans of the light forces are, what exactly they will do, how we'll do it, and when they will.
Sure, that makes sense. Do you feel like maybe some additional information might be able to be released after July 25th?
It's possible.
Okay. To what extent does reaching critical mass during this portal activation affect these upgrades and updates?
It can affect them because there were situations in the past when critical mass was reached and some upgrades happened that otherwise would not.
Okay. Um, I have to ask you, how much closer will this activation move us toward the event? Is it possible that it could even trigger it?
I don't see the event being possible at that moment, but I would say that if this activation is successful, it can bring the event months closer than would otherwise be possible. So it can reduce the waiting time for a few months at least.
Okay. Would you care to share with us your prediction on a possible time
No,
frame?
no,
Yeah.
I will never do that again. I will never do that again. It's people get disappointed. I'm not God. I don't know everything. Nobody does, and people get disappointed, and they many times misinterpret and misuse my words even. So I don't want to talk about any of those predictions anymore.
I understand. I had a feeling you were going to say that. I just had so many people ask me if I would ask you, so I had to. So, all right, let me ask you something else. You've suggested we study the manifestation teachings of Kevin Trudeau. In an interview on his YouTube channel, he mentioned that what you desire most often appears when you least expect it. Now, you've stressed the importance of working on the golden timeline. So, if light workers work on actively manifesting their personal golden timeline, improving their lives materially and spiritually, meanwhile treating the event as an extra bonus in life, How will this mindset actually accelerate the manifestation of the event?
The main thing is if people manifest their golden timelines, this is the best approach towards the event because then they will be less stressed, they will be more balanced, and uh, this is exactly the energy which is needed for the event to happen.
Okay, that makes sense. You've mentioned a time portal in which, through a revised time loop, events in the future can influence the past. Would you elaborate more about this portal as well as what the relationship is to this emphasis you've given us to create a golden timeline for ourselves and the planet?
Okay, I don't think it's time yet to talk about this in detail, but I would just say if you are manifesting your golden timeline, uh, there is a moment in the future when that timeline is already manifested and that the future is sending a signal to your present self. But there is much more to this I'm not allowed to talk about yet.
Okay, okay. Might the this upcoming Ascension Portal activation intensify some of the transmissions, these signals from the future to create a more positive timeline?
It's possible.
Okay, okay. Mm, well, yeah, I was going to ask if we could activate this time portal with our intention, allowing our ascended selves to travel back for assistance. But you're saying it's potentially too soon to discuss this?
Yes, yes, it's too soon.
Okay, thank you. Would you please share any updates regarding first contact, both on a physical level and the non-physical level?
I would say that the positive extraterrestrials through the races are finally getting excited about this. It is getting closer. They are preparing for this. And before the first contact happens, there will be a certain disclosure process which is already underway.
Yes, we can tell. I was going to ask you about that shortly anyway. Is it still the plan by the Pleiadians to contact individuals to go to the mass media and create a critical mass for first contact? And will these still only be those people who own private land and participate in Contact Dish, or might others be contacted?
So now there will not only be Pleiadians, there will be other races that will contact individuals that will go to the mass media. And Contact Dish project is just one of the projects that is part of this first contact process.
Okay, so you're saying there is potential that others may be contacted, even if they.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. There are a few questions about life after the event. What's approximately the time frame to integrate advanced technology into the general public after the event?
I would say a few years.
Okay. Would you please describe these things that we'll have access to once we gain this official access so that we can incorporate these images and ideas into our personal golden timeline meditation?
Okay, the most important one, of course, will be medbeds, which will address the health situation of the surface population. There will be replicators. Those two are the main technologies that will be present.
Yeah, absolutely. Those I know everyone's looking forward to. Can we get an update on the medbed situation? I was going to ask you, there's a Telegram channel run by someone named Mr. Poole who continually releases information about medbeds. And he recently stated that actual medbeds were moved from an underground facility to a location in the United States where some people are actually using them and receiving healing from them. Can you tell us anything about this?
Okay, Mr. Poole has, I would say, some limited access to some intel about the actual process of what's happening with medbeds, but not all of this is reliable. So I would say there are certain rumors which are trickling about the whole process. There is much more to it, but he is, I would say, an indicator of how things are progressing to a degree.
Okay. How far away are med beds from being turned over to the general population? Is that still an after the event thing?
It needs to be safe, and it's not safe if the cabal is in power. So it needs to be safe enough for people who are being healed not to be killed after the healing process is completed.
That makes sense. So if they're not available until later or after the event, might it be possible that certain individuals could be teleported to a healing ship to use a med bed?
That's even less likely. What is likely, and it will become likely quite soon, is that people will be teleported in their dreams without a physical body, in their astral body. They will receive healing in their astral body or even etheric body on the ship and then taken back to their bed, the physical one.
Oh,
That's something that will start happening quite soon. Actually, it is already happening in certain circumstances. Certain people have been taken underground to healing chambers in their sleep and receive healing. This is already happening to a degree.
would you suggest if this is something that someone would like to experience, is this might we set an intention before going to sleep that we experience this?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Good to know. So once the med beds do become available, there's likely to be a huge rush for them. How will the order be determined for who gets an appointment? Will genuine voluntary commitment to the greater good play a role, or will it be based on one's own level of spiritual development or the current state of one's health?
It will be a combination of various factors. The first one will be simply distribution chain. So there will be certain locations where it will be easier to deploy the med beds. And of course, there will be urgent cases that will be treated first. And then there will be various criteria who will be treated first, who will be treated second. But I would say it is a complex process. It is the same if you're admitted into a hospital, there is a certain procedure how you are accepted where you go. So it will be similar to that.
Okay, okay. So will these med beds be in hospitals, or will there be specific purpose-built buildings? And will medical staff be deployed there, or will people be needed to have to undergo a special training? Or maybe at that point, the life forces will be here operating them.
Again, it will be a combination of all those. There will be certain med beds that will go to hospitals. There will be some that will be deployed to private buildings. There will be certain buildings built. So whatever needs to happen in the fastest and most effective way, people will undergo training. There will be some training necessary, but it will not be too complex because those machines are quite advanced. They don't need a lot of handling, so it will be quite easy to train people, to train the personnel to handle those machines. And at some point, the light forces will be present directly, but not in the initial phase.
Okay, okay. We hear various descriptions of these med beds. Apparently, some are like capsules that you lie down in for a while others are like a tank filled with a kind of viscous liquid that you have to breathe in. Could you share information on the med beds that we can use in the future, like how they work, and also what effect will they have? Physically heal, age reverse, detox.
Most of the med beds that will be introduced will be like capsules that you lay down, and they will have various effects. Of course, what needs to happen is detox first, then there will be some physical healing, and the more advanced models of the med beds will just reshuffle the atomic structure of the physical body, so they will be able to heal basically everything.
Okay, great. What about mental and emotional issues, which often have their roots in physical imbalance? Will they be able to be treated as well?
To a certain degree, yes. So what will be able to be done is the removal of parasites, entities, and certain negative emotions, certain negative attachments, certain mental problems. But for emotional and mental healing, a lot more of conscious participation will be necessary.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking that it's likely up to the individual working with their own consciousness to evolve in that way. Um, so until we have access to med beds, what technology or protocols might we use to assist in physical healing?
Manifesting golden timeline, visualize perfect health, visualize healing, visualize. There are many techniques you can use. One of them is reality stacking, which I have introduced in one of the workshops. You can use that to make your health each day 1% better. This is one of the approaches that's possible.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I know you mentioned earlier that you really can't say too much right now about any updates about the Ascension plan. Um, I'm just wondering, is there anything you can share with us? Like, is there still expecting to be three waves of Ascension?
Yes, the basic plan remains the same. The upgrades will be more operational, like immediate phases, which are the most critical ones of this.
Right. Well, I was going to ask you, at what point might we expect Ascension to begin?
Um, so after the event, there will be, like I would say, the group that will be training for the first wave, they will go through a certain purification process. And that will most likely take a few years. So they will be ready at that point, and then they will go.
Okay. People are wondering, will there be a time in between the event and Ascension for humanity to actually enjoy their lives on 3D without all the darkness, which has made our lives so difficult?
Yes, this is the plan because many people have many dreams they would like to manifest in the physical world. They would like to experience joy of positive creation, and this is part of the plan.
Okay, great. Um, what's the current plan for where the first island of light will be, and how many subsequent locations will there be and where?
The first islands of light will be in physically beautiful locations with as pure energy as possible. So the first initial wave of islands of light will be just a few locations, and then this will be tested, and then it will expand.
Can you share where those locations are?
I will just share one of them, and this is Bora Bora. This is one of the first locations that was chosen.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah, and these locations are chosen because they're just kind of pure in energy, or why these locations?
As I have said, they need to be as pure as possible energetically, and they need to be physically beautiful. So it needs to be the most possible perfect manifestation of light on the physical plane.
That sounds lovely. How soon after the event might we expect islands of light to start forming? And what is the criteria for being able to live in one of these first islands of light?
The formation process will start I would say, a few weeks to a few months after the event, and people who are really able to really follow the instructions for transformation and go beyond the programming that exists here on the surface of this planet, those are the people who will be, I would say, invited or that will participate.
Now, when you say instructions, these will be given to people. Will it be like a test?
They will be given to people by the light forces, yes, and there will be tests. People will be tested. It will not be a very hard test, but there will be tests because people need to be ready for this.
Do you have any tips how people might get ready for that?
No, no,
Okay,
I
okay.
would not go there.
You use your own guidance, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so I know it's fun to talk about life after the event, but we do need to come back to reality a little bit and talk about the current planetary situation. Would you give us an update on the current status of the lurker? Like how much is remaining? How much of the subquantum anomaly has been cleared?
Okay, I would say a lot has been cleared, but there is still more to go. So, what is the problem is the innermost layer, the 30 meters, the surface 30 meters on the physical and non-physical planes. So that's the big problem because this place has been in darkness for the last 25,000 years, and this takes time to clear. So there is progress. There is, I would say, even significant progress, but we are not there yet.
Okay. So there are still negative entities left on the astral and non-physical planes.
Unfortunately, yes, there are far less than there were even a year ago, but they're still there.
Okay. Will the July activation help to clear some of this?
Oh yes, it will clear a lot of this.
Very good. Um, so after last year's activation, you mentioned that one of the key negative things left was on the physical surface, and a lot of that involved the negative technologies such as HARP, directed energy weapons, electromagnetic, and infrasound disturbances. Have they been reduced since then at all, and are they still a significant concern?
I would say this was reduced at least by 50% within the last year.
Oh, very good. Okay. Can you tell us what it feels like physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to be attacked by a directed energy weapon?
Okay, you don't want to know. It's like being cooked into a microwave. This is one possible description. This is one possible symptom of being attacked.
Oh my goodness. Are there degrees of the, like some are very, very bad and some are just kind of slight?
Yes.
Okay. Why are some light workers attacked more than others? And is there anything we can do to protect ourselves against these?
People who are, I would say, key people for the plan, these are the people who are being attacked. And the most important protection is connection with the higher self. That's number one.
Okay, great. We're going to talk about that shortly too, about connecting with your higher self. But I'd like to ask you a question that a lot of people have been curious about. What's your insight regarding the death of David Wilcock? Whatever one's opinion of him may be, he definitely played a significant role in humanity's awakening, and there are many theories surrounding his death. Would you share your perspective with us? What happened? Like, was he affected by negative entities?
It was a suicide. Basically, people do not understand that the life of somebody who is, I would say, one of the main influencers or any of the main influencers in this spiritual scene on the planet. This is not an easy life. It's very demanding, very challenging. There are a lot of attacks. He was being attacked by the entities. He was being attacked by scalar technology, but ultimately it was his choice to leave the physical plane.
Okay. Yeah, it can be tough here. You mentioned earlier about the disclosure process. It just seems like it's definitely increasing daily. So if you could give us an update on that, what's going on, and wondering if it's prompted by the white hats.
This is the first result of the infiltration of the positive Andromedans and Aldebarans within the Trump administration. There are some people who are not of a human origin, who are basically part of the Andromedan and Aldebaran team, who are within the administration and they're engineering this. So it is happening because I would say the deep state cannot stop this anymore. So they're trying to spin it, but they cannot stop it.
Okay, so will it still be like it has been, sort of an accelerated trickle, until the event where everything comes out? Is that how we can expect it to flow?
Yes.
Okay. So at the time of this interview, which is on June 25th, we're still dealing with the Iran-Israel USA war. Now it appears that Trump is trying to get out of it, leaving his reputation intact. Question about Martin Armstrong, who is a big expert in cycles. His computers show that this war will not end until 2027. Can you comment on what you know about this war and also about Martin Armstrong's statements?
Okay, this interview is taking place on June 15th. And this is the day when there was a peace agreement which was signed. It is not a complete resolution of this conflict. It is a partial resolution. The energy imprint of this is not resolved yet. It will
Hmm.
take some time.
Hmm.
So Martin Armstrong's approach is one perspective on how long this will last. It's not the only one. And I would say the general tendency is for those conflicts to be resolved as there is more of a positive energy coming in. But I would not give any predictions at this point.
Okay. Can we assume that our meditations in July will help this situation as well as other wars around the world come to an end?
It will definitely help, but I cannot guarantee it will be enough.
Okay. Okay. Now, you mentioned in a recent update that the Black nobility, the Jesuits, and the Zionists believe that the U.S.-Iran war is being used as an end time showdown, like the Armageddon. They intend to use war to manifest the arrival of their Messiah. Can you tell us who is their Messiah? And would you please explain what Armageddon in the Bible really is and why these people are so obsessed with such a radical method?
The Prince of Darkness is their Messiah, and they believe, or I would say they would like to believe that this final battle will resolve their problem. That this final battle will allow them to rule the planet, and it will be the end. So it's like an end game for them.
Right. And can you say that this will not happen?
Of course, it will not
Right.
happen. It's what
Yes.
it will happen will be the end of darkness. This is what's going to happen.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was wanting you to say that. So, okay, great. Thank you. Um, I want to talk about AI. It's shocking how rapidly it's becoming part of our society. I mean, everybody seems to be using it as part of their daily life, and nothing feels real anymore. How much of a concern is this, and what is the future regarding this?
Okay, the main problem of AI it is not able to discern whether the data is real or not, whether is it true or not. So it's like a big information processor, and it makes mistakes. So AI can be useful, but people usually use it in the wrong way because they're too lazy to think.
Hmm.
And this will have to play out, unfortunately. And at a certain point, AI will be just another tool that everybody's using, like they're using their cell phone, and it will not be such a big deal anymore.
Okay. Well, and there's also numerous data centers going up all over suddenly. Why is that, and what's the plan about this?
Okay, this is the surveillance mechanism of dark forces. They have a lot of data to process and feed through the AI about people. This is their way to control humanity. This is their plan to tighten the control.
Well, yeah, it does seem like that surveillance programs are being put in place all over, our phones, traffic, airport cameras. I mean, even Apple recently announced that Siri would soon have full access to everything on our phones, and it definitely sounds concerning. Um, do you, I want to ask you, it just feels like we're creeping dangerously close to Agenda 2030. Can you speak about that?
This surveillance mechanism was activated in 1996. It is just changing form because a lot of the old technology was removed by the life forces. They are just shifting into this phase. So it's not getting stronger, it is just more visible because the more advanced technology has been removed already.
Okay, okay. So we don't have to worry about Agenda 2030.
No, you don't need to worry about that.
Very good. Um, let's talk about something more fun. You indicated that on July 9th, Saint Germain will energetically anchor the new financial system as one aspect of the New Earth Key through the Vendôme column at Palace Vendôme in Paris. This sounds like a very positive sign towards financial abundance. So, why July 9th? And what is the meaning of this energetic activation? Since we understand that the new financial quantum system will only be put in place after the event.
July 9 is the day of the astrological configuration where Neptune sits exactly at the midpoint between Uranus and Pluto, and that is I would say, the resonance position through which the archetype of the new financial system, not the physical system itself, but the energetic archetype of that system will be anchored on the physical plane at Place Vendôme in Paris.
Great. It definitely sounds like a step moving closer to that system, physical system being put in place. What is the significance of the Vendôme column, which was built in a spiral design and perhaps reflects the golden ratio? And the Palace Vendôme itself, where the column is located, it's an octagon. So, what is the significance of the octagon shape?
So the column itself, it represents the golden timeline, which is being anchored.
Mhm.
And the octagonal shape and the hexagonal shape of the plasma dome is the sacred geometry, which resolves the anomaly. It transforms the anomaly.
Beautiful. You said that Saint Germain will also energetically anchor this energy through Hotel Ritz and Cartier store in Paris, and that the main emerald through which he will anchor this energy is the Berenice emerald, which was carved in India during the Mughal Empire in the 1600s. Cartier was instrumental in incorporating Mughal emeralds in tutti frutti jewelry, which is a very strong anchor of energies of the galactic central sun. Would you speak about the connection of all of this? Was Cartier a Templar or perhaps given information by the light forces to create beautiful emerald pieces that could be used in the future?
He was not a Templar. Pierre Cartier and Jacques Cartier, actually, Jacques Cartier was having a trip in India where he was introduced to the Mughal jewels and he immediately recognized their value because their energy was absolutely wonderful. And he brought those to Paris, and this is how Cartier was able to introduce the tutti frutti jewelry. And this energy of those Mughal emeralds is absolutely the most powerful connection to the galactic central sun. And those energies can be felt. If you hold such an emerald in your hands, you can definitely feel that energy. And this is how this energy was brought to the West through that trip in India, which happened around the time of the World War One.
Wow, beautiful. So this may mark the 1 year anniversary of the Visak Great Gathering by the Ascended Masters, which was their every 100-year gathering in Tibet. And it was at that meeting that they declared that darkness on the planet must be removed. So what are they doing now? What is their influence on today? And are they going to be involved in these big planetary conjunctions in July?
They are just carrying out their plan of total defeat of darkness day by day, and they will be very much present in July in those energies of the activation. They will be supporting that activation from higher planes.
Very good. Um, Cobra, would you tell us a bit about your interactions with the resistance movement? Not so much about intel, but more about the human side. Like, what do they look like? How do they think and feel? How do they live, etc.?
They look like humans. I mean, they are in human bodies. Psychologically, they are much different from the surface humanity. They don't have that programming that exists on the surface, but they do have their emotions. They're human beings without a programming.
Oh, lucky them. What's the update regarding their contact with surface lightworkers?
At this moment, there is no contact. Basically, they are just. It's not yet done.
Okay. Do many lightworkers have soul connections with members of the RM?
Not many, but some of them do.
Okay, great. Um, I would like to speak a little bit about souls and soul families. Would you please describe the creation of souls?
Souls are being born through the portal of the galactic central sun, either in this galaxy or in other galaxies. And they are usually born in groups, and those groups are the soul families. And usually, when the soul is born, it's created in pairs with a female polarity and male polarity, and these are the twin souls.
Okay. And is it at the fifth dimension that the polarity split into male, masculine, and feminine?
Yes.
Okay. Um, so every soul you've said has a particular pattern that is different from any other soul in the entire universe. Who decides this specific soul pattern and design?
Um, when Absolute projects sparks of itself, it projects sparks that are needed, their energy signature, which is needed uh, in this universe. So this is decided. And then combination of all those ray energies create the plan for I would say, the evolution of the universe.
Okay. Do soul families have similar patterns?
Yes.
Okay. What do souls or soul families have a specific color assigned to them? And if so, is it possible to see this color while in a meditation state?
I would say it's not a color, it's a ray. It's a certain energetic quality which can be described as colors, and it's possible to see this in a meditation, yes.
Okay. Can you share what the color or color feeling of the Anutara soul family is? I'm curious if it might be the opalescent blue-green color similar to what we're visualizing in the upcoming Ascension Portal Activation meditation.
It is the emerald green.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. And speaking of, what's the current status of the healing and awakening of the Anutara family incarnated on Earth, particularly among the positive Templars?
Not very good.
Oh, that's unfortunate. And can you share with us why that is and what might happen to make that better?
Mm, I cannot say why that is. Simply the conditions are not ready yet. And when overall conditions get better, when there is more light, hopefully this will change.
Okay, thank you. Some people talk about that there are people on in the matrix and on the earth who are infillers or pawns used to maintain an illusion. Some refer to them as NPCs. It's also said they do not have souls but are merely empty shells. Would you please share your views on this?
There are people like this, but there are not as many as some people think.
What is that percentage? Can you tell us?
I would say maybe 5 to 10% of humanity.
Okay, thank you. And what will happen to these beings, I guess, if you want to call them, as more light comes into the planet, and especially around the time of the event?
After the event, when there will be the final evacuation, they will be evacuated, and many of them will go to the central sun.
Okay, thank you. Many light workers on the planet have very few or even no connection to other light workers, and they're also not able to travel to workshops or conferences. Yet their soul knows that they're part of this process and they're placed in specific regions to anchor light at this time. Yet they can feel isolated and lonely. What's most important for them to understand, and what would you say to encourage them?
The first thing is that many of them would be able to travel if they manifest that. And even if they are not able to travel, they can connect with others through internet.
Very true. Yes. Thank you. Okay. But can you agree that souls are placed around the planet in various locations to hold light in those areas?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I think if we can remember that, then it makes us feel like we're doing our role. I'd like to speak to you now a little bit about goddess energy. Can you tell us more about the cosmic angelic being Aya? Wait, did I say that right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes. I do the meditation, but I'm trying to remember how to say that. Um, People report feeling a strong connection with her when doing the meditation, like finally arriving home. What is her relationship with the goddess?
She is the embodiment of the goddess from the M87 galaxy. She is the embodiment of cosmic love. So she is uh, our connection to the very high frequencies of the goddess.
Beautiful. Yes, that can definitely be felt when doing that meditation. Cobra, what causes the decline in energy for running the existing and creating new Sisterhood of the Rose physical groups? Have the focus of the light forces lessened towards supporting the establishment of the new groups and the goddess temples? And might this improve in the future?
I would say that the collective Sisterhood of the Rose has encountered a block, a subconscious block, which has not been removed, has not been healed. And that is the distorted sexual energy, unhealed sexual energy. And all this has to be transformed, or I would say a part of this has to be transformed to make forward movement for the Sisterhood of the Rose.
Okay. So I was going to ask you what we could additionally do to bring more divine feminine energy to the planet, besides goddess temples and Sisterhood of the Rose groups to bring in more of this goddess energy. So you're saying that healing the sexual energy is a key factor.
Yes.
Okay, and I know you've mentioned how to do that, but just so that people can be real clear, would you share with us a little bit on how to go about that?
You need to use your own guidance regarding this.
Okay. All right. Thank you. You mentioned during the workshop in Taipei, this was before the first 1221 activation last year, that an interesting aspect of this 1221 portal is its connection to the goddess Isis, which is an energy originating from the Sirius star system, and that the Sirius star system has a direct link to 1221, and that throughout most of the challenging times in the galaxy's history, Isis has stood as a guardian of the sacred light within this sector of the Milky Way. What role will Isis play for this second activation in July?
ISIS will have a very important role, but it needs to remain classified.
Okay. When we see portraits of goddess Isis, we often see a disc drawn above her head. What does this disc imply? Is it her soul star chakra?
It is her soul star chakra in connection with the Sirius star system.
Oh, interesting. Okay. As we have activated more and more portals over the last few years, many light workers are aware of the fact that time is passing faster and faster. I think just the general public is feeling that. People seem to comment all the time how fast time seems to be going. Is this the spiral consciousness that Isis Astara mentioned many years ago? And can you elaborate on what the spiral consciousness is and its significance in 2026?
Yes, this is the spiral consciousness that she was talking about. And this spiral consciousness is a new perception of time that is not, when their consciousness is not so attached to the third dimensional reality.
Okay. Can we expect time to continue to speed up in this aspect?
Yes.
What is the conical spiral of Pappus and what is its relationship with goddess spiral consciousness?
Okay, the conical spiral of Pappus is the mathematical description of the golden timeline. And it is, of course, connected to the spiral consciousness because when we disengage ourselves from the third dimensional reality, when we elevate our consciousness, we are also in the better position to manifest the golden timeline.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you how we can utilize the spiral consciousness in the three steps of manifestation and accelerate our personal and planetary timeline. So, is there anything specific you can tell us on how to use this spiral consciousness?
Whenever you reach that consciousness, you are actually manifesting. This is exactly the state of consciousness in which it is easiest to manifest.
Okay, so is that done with intent?
It can be done spontaneously or it can be done with intent.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to talk to you a little bit more about the golden timeline since it's very important. How is it that working with it, that is doing the golden timeline meditation every day and really visualizing the lives that we want, how is it that it's so important to each of us in the planet right now?
It is because simply it makes our lives better, and by embodying better lives, we are embodying the archetype of the new paradise. And this is very important because this creates a resonance field through which the planet can be liberated.
Okay. Now, in the past, you've said that the manifestation of the event does not depend on the consciousness level of humanity, but yet now raising our consciousness and our vibration by working to manifest our personal and planetary timeline does seem to be important and necessary. So, why is it the light forces are now asking us to do this? And why now? Have the energies become more favorable for us to manifest?
As I have said before, since the activation last August, we can begin to start utilizing our free will. And this is exactly why this process is taking place now.
Okay. I'm curious if it has anything to do with the ongoing upgrades with Project Dreamland.
This is classified information.
Okay. In Kevin Trudeau's teachings, he says by using these teachings, anything is possible. He even says you can manifest your soulmate. Now, we understand that the Dark Ones have been keeping a lot of light workers from connecting with a soulmate or twin soul. Would you speak on the status of that possibility, especially before the event?
I would say it is now within possibility to manifest a soulmate for the light workers who are really working on their involvement. This is becoming possible. For twin souls, I would say theoretically possible, but practical examples are extremely few.
Okay. But the soulmate is potentially more possible.
Yes.
Okay. In theory, if you fully master the process of manifestation, it should be possible to change your appearance, such as your height, your eye color, your skin color, or even make yourself invisible to others. What is actually possible in the 3D world? Like, how about reverse aging?
Okay, the things you have mentioned are usually possible in the last stage of the ascension process.
Okay. Okay. And reverse aging, is that, do we have to wait till, well, I know med beds would work on that as well. So,
It's possible to start with this reverse aging much earlier, but I would say the complete process would be possible around the time that beds are introduced.
okay, thank you. What if a person is doing the golden timeline meditation and intrusive thoughts of unwanted situations arise during the meditation? Does this influence the result and what should they do?
It does influence the result to a degree, but they don't need to worry. They just use the violet flame and remove this and continue with the meditation.
Oh, very good to know. When it comes to manifesting and meditations, would it be most beneficial to avoid words with strongly negative connotations? For example, the current monthly full moon physical intervention meditation, which is intended to manifest a better future, mentions having no more negative things such as Holocaust, genocide, war, slaughterhouses, etc. But some participants feel uncomfortable with this. One participant writes, during the last meditation on physical intervention, I understood, or rather sensed, why, as soon as a strongly negative word is mentioned, my vibration drops significantly, and consequently, I would create with that vibration. The positive description that follows can no longer compensate for this. Furthermore, I lose my flow. In workshops, for example, Munich and Sydney, we've learned that all creation formulas manifestations should be consistently positive and described in the present tense. What would be the energetic reason for using negatively charged terms in these meditations? Cobra, would you please comment on this?
Yes, it would be much better to reward that meditation so the negative words are removed. That would be much better.
Oh, wow, you made a lot of people very happy by saying that. Thank you. You've stated that the most important things in manifesting a new society will be for humanity to establish their connection to their soul, to open their hearts, to connect with their inner child, and reclaim their innate innocence. It's also stated that much of this is only possible after the event. Is there anything lightworkers who came here to assist in this process can do now to anchor these energies?
Yes, by meditating upon those things can be manifested.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. We understand that to manifest our golden timeline, it's essential to connect with our soul, our higher self. Yet people are reporting not being clear on how to do this, and they have requested that you please give some specific, practical examples of how one can successfully connect with one's higher self or soul.
In one of the conferences, I think it was in Tokyo or in Kyoto, I have given many techniques, many meditations to connect with the higher self. And you can just go through the workshop notes and through my past blog posts, and you will find those meditations.
Okay, very good. Is one of those the Atvor? Connecting
Yes,
through Atvor?
yes.
Yes. Okay, I thought so. Um, how can one check or know whether one is connected to one's higher self or soul?
When you're connected with your higher self, you feel that connection. You feel inspired. You feel guided. You feel connected.
Okay, great. Working on the golden timeline can be challenging, especially because most people are actually new to this concept and they have past trauma, wounding, negative programming, etc., that make it difficult to stay consistently positive. What advice do you have for these people?
I would just say persevere, keep going, and practice, and you will get better in this.
Okay, very good. And you still are recommending the teachings of Kevin Trudeau to assist with this?
I would say this particular book I have mentioned is quite good in learning the basics of manifestation.
Okay, thank you. And so, for our final topics, let's speak a little bit more about healing and protection. How do we face one's own shadow in the least painful way? Are there techniques or meditations that can help?
Simply be an observer. So do not get too identified with the shadows when they surface. Just observe them, watch them, and focus upon the light.
Very
And you
good.
can just release them with a violet flame.
Oh, very good. Thank you. What can we do to help other people facing their inner shadow, except maybe to meditate upon our own individual and planetary golden timeline? Can we help other
Uh,
people?
yes, sometimes they need somebody to talk to. They need somebody who would listen to them, and they need some silent support.
Okay. Thank you. You'd mentioned recently that our first, second, and third chakras are all being cleared, especially by the energy of the new earth. What can we expect from each of these three chakras being cleared and these distortions corrected?
The first thing that is the most important is there will be much less fear, there will be much less manipulation, there will be much less pain.
Okay, very good. Um, can you and that sounds kind of like the first chakra, or does that apply to the second and third as well?
This is for all three chakras.
Okay, thank you. There's been increasing discussion regarding the importance of healing in order for the divine masculine and divine feminine to rise in sacred union. What does this healing mean, and what are its impacts? How does this connect to the mission of light workers and liberation, and why is this so important?
I was speaking in the past about this a lot. I was describing how the implants are structured, what the programming is, and how this is being dismantled. And if people follow that guidance, there will be many breakthroughs.
Okay. Do you see this has been getting better in this area?
No,
Okay, so we need to do more work on that.
this has not even started.
Okay, okay. Um, so there's over 160 tachyon chambers around the world, and they've been made stronger in recent months due to emerald light upgrades. Can you speak further on this and also comment whether these chambers expect to receive an opal light upgrade?
The chambers are getting stronger because I would say, the positive energies are getting stronger, and it's easier for the light forces to uh, calibrate the chambers to those new energies. But the chambers already have opal light.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. How are they helping people and how are they helping the planet? It's important that people understand this so that more people are inclined to use them.
What chambers do, they harmonize your energy field, and they harmonize your quantum field, and this can trigger quite effective healing. And some people have very strong experiences with them. And of course, you can visit any of the existing chambers and experience that for yourself.
Okay.
And more of those chambers are built, the stronger the light grid is around the planet.
Very good. Cobra, would you share the website for that, for those chambers?
Tachyonis.org.
Thank you. Are there any improvements in the non physical plane for those that die? Do they have the opportunity to ascend?
They cannot ascend yet because there is still matrix, but some of the people who die are having contact with their guides, but the whole situation has not been transformed yet.
Okay. Due to the delays, there are light workers who are very weary and they feel they're physically and emotionally done with this lifetime and they do want to leave this physical dimension. Now, you've mentioned that staying in the physical body helps speed up the whole process of liberation the most. Why is this?
Simply because the physical plane is where where the source of the problem is, and this is where it has to be resolved. And people who are really tired, they just need a break. They need to take some rest, maybe even a long rest, maybe 1 year, 2 years, so now they just need time for themselves to rest and heal.
That's excellent advice. Thank you. Regarding free will, you recently mentioned each situation on the surface of the planet has many possible outcomes that are defined by free will vector field equations, limited by the ingoing slope of the cone of the Ontarian conversion. We know that humanity's free will is influenced by several factors, including manipulation by the dark. To what extent and in what ways can we influence people's free will so as to counteract this manipulation? And would such action on our part also constitute a manipulation of others' free will? Or would it simply be seen as a counterbalance to the influence exerted by the dark side as kind of a neutralization of the dark side's manipulation?
Okay, if you try to manipulate other people's free will, you will just make them more confused. So this is not the right approach. The right approach is just to inform people by laying information out there, and those who are ready for it will receive it, and they will apply.
Okay, thank you. We understand that connection with our soul will give us protection against the dark attacks. How can we tell whether we're being influenced by negative entities or whether we're being guided by benevolent beings, including our soul or higher self? It's hard to know sometimes if it's an attack or something that is for our higher good.
Okay, if it feels negative, it's not for your higher good. It's very simple.
Okay, great. Thank you. Regarding the importance of feeling safe and being safe, what is most important for light workers to understand at this time? Specifically, how can we best understand the importance of safety and best support ourselves and each other?
Safety is connected to the first chakra, to the root chakra, and the basic key to safety is to release fear. And when you release fear and connect with your higher self, that feeling of safety will increase.
Okay, thank you. Within groups in the community, there are still people whose main aim is not to serve the higher good, but rather to serve their own ego, or as an infiltrator, even to undermine the work, whether consciously or unconsciously. What difference does it make in terms of the success or the mission and or energetically if someone wishes to serve their ego, such as wanting to be in control, wanting power, wanting to be respected, wanting to feel important, etc.? Or if someone intends to sabotage the work mission, often in subtle ways, so that it isn't noticeable at all. And how can we protect the work, the mission, when such people are involved?
Unfortunately, infiltration happens a lot, and people have many weaknesses. If somebody is disturbing the mission too much, that person needs to be expelled from the mission.
Okay. Why is it that some people who were previously seen as sincere light workers, their driving force has become satisfaction of their ego? Is it because the energies are shifting in such a way that deception is becoming more difficult, or because these energies are throwing people off balance? And how should we deal with such people?
One aspect of the situation is people got tired, people are waiting for results and they didn't come and they give up. And they just want to get their rewards, which is understandable, but this needs to be put into balance. So anybody who is too off balance either needs to change their way or they need to leave the mission
Okay.
and go somewhere else.
Okay. Thank you. Would you please speak now about the importance of collaboration, especially at this time?
Okay, this was also always very important. It was seldom followed. I think it's obvious. I mean, the dark ones know how to cooperate, and this is why they are so effective. The light ones need to learn cooperation as well and be as effective as well.
Absolutely. That's why we're calling for critical mass on July 25th. um, so, Cobra, I have to ask you, what methods do you, dear Cobra, use to stay centered, confident, and strong, and to carry on with your mission despite frustrating events, such as the event being postponed, or upsetting or hurtful experiences like some of the comments on your blog?
Okay, number one is that I know what my purpose is, and I follow that purpose. I would say my will is unbreakable because I know what I came here to do, and I will do it. This is not to say it was easy, it was extremely hard, but it does not mean that we will not be successful. It just means that it takes longer. There are many disappointments, but the main key is to connect to the higher self and to be aware of the highest purpose all the time.
Oh, Cobra, that was beautiful. I got goosebumps and my eyes started to water. So, thank you so much for your dedication and your strong will. Yeah, that's great. So, thank you for sharing that. From your perspective, what is most important for light workers to know and then do at this crucial time?
What is most important to know that this nightmare will be over. I don't know exactly when or how, but it will be over. And there are already results which can be felt. The energies on the surface are definitely better than they were 10 years ago. If you remember how things were 10 years ago, even a few years ago, and now you can feel the difference. And things are going in the right direction, it just takes time. So what is important for us is just to keep going until the finish line.
Absolutely. Thank you. And Cobra, as we wrap this interview, as inspiration, would you just for a moment summarize the changes and benefits we individually and planetarily will receive with the upcoming 1221 Ascension Portal Activation this July? And do you have any other words of hope for light workers?
One of the most important changes that will happen will be the beginning of the hell to heaven conversions, which means that potential negative situations will finally begin to be eliminated. So the overall sum of suffering will finally begin to increase, to be eliminated and will decrease on the surface of the planet. And this is our hope. Finally, things will start to improve. I don't know how or when. exactly, but this is the beginning of a very important phase of the process.
All right, thank you. That's great motivation for everyone to participate in the important global meditations coming in July to support this very significant moment in human and planetary history. Uh, I want to remind people that the booster meditations are scheduled for July 15th at 8:28 p.m. UTC, July 18th at 4:45 a.m. UTC, and July 21st at 11:11 a.m. UTC. And then, of course, the main meditation on July 25th at 5:53 a.m. UTC. So we encourage people to check out Cobra's blog at 2012portal.blogspot.com, as well as the We Love Mass Meditation website at welovemassmeditation.com for more information and updates. And please remember that the more people that participate, the more powerful the results will be. Spread the word because we are stronger together. I would very much like to thank all the beautiful souls who helped support this interview. I especially would like to mention Cobra's international team, who worked so hard to do all the translations for his articles, interviews, guided audios, and videos, and who sent in some great questions. I hope that everyone understands that due to time constraints, not all questions could be used, and we do apologize for that. And so, most of all, we would like to thank you, Cobra, not just for your time today, but for the incredible hard work you do year after year, your dedication, and your continued strength to hold the light for humanity. Thank you again.
Thank you for your invitation for this interview, and thank you everybody that will participate in this activation.
Very good. Yes. Thank you. Thank you to everyone in advance for your participation. So, all right, Cobra, I'm going to let you go. It was great talking to you, and thank you again.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Victory of the light.
Victory of the light.